Hi and welcome. This is Katie Caruan, and I invite you to join me for approximately 15 minutes for this Lunch and Unlearn session. And if you didn't attend the last time, you will know that there's an opportunity to take part of that recording as well if you want to know why unlearning is important to have on your agenda. Today, the topic is about the shortcut to becoming good at unlearning. And just before we get started into the details, I would just like to encourage you to uh, add your comments if you have any questions you might have along the way. And also make sure to put on your audio in case you are listening in either on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. And also welcome if you are going to take part of this recording afterwards, naturally. So with that, I would like to focus on today's topic. And the first thing I'm going to share with you is just a reminder about what unlearning is and what it's not. And let's start with the latter. So the latter is actually, it's not about forgetting anything. It's more about choosing an alternative mental model to change a behavior. So that's just a small reminder, and I'm happy to see some people joining here via LinkedIn, and feel free to add your comments and questions along the way. So that was just a quick reminder, and also why this is important. Very, very quickly, the pace is tremendous. The old things, the old habits that served us in the past might not serve us anymore. And we need to become better at unlearning in order to be still in demand and to understand what is required of us and that we can be agile and adapt to the new circumstances. So unlearning is a very vital skill that we should focus more on moving forward. Covered under that umbrella is, of course, it doesn't really matter if you are either looking for a new job, or if you are looking to start your own business, or if you simply want to improve and add to being a contributor in your current job. Unlearning will be vital as a skill no matter what your situation is. So that was a quick look back from last week. And we are going to move into today's topic quickly. And of course, this is very high level. This is just a teaser about all the things that is underneath here. There are many subtle things here, and I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a behavioral scientist, but I work with clients and candidates and coaches every week who are struggling to unlearn. And we are learning from that as we go along. And there are some common themes and threads that we can all benefit from. So I would like to share some of that, what I see in my professional life as well. What is this about? Becoming good at unlearning. Well, in order to crack the code, if we just keep it very, very high level, there are 3 simple steps to consider. So first of all, we need to recognize a specific habit that is not serving us anymore. Could be something that is in your private life or in your professional life, but you need to be very clear with yourself what this is. Identify it. And then, of course, you need also to make a very conscious decision to replace it with something that will serve you better. It seems almost banal to say it out loud, but this is where most people actually fail. They realize which habits are bad or not effective, but they're unable in actually being niched and crisp in what they need to do instead. And even more challenging might be the last one. Actually being able to immerse ourselves in the new habit. So how do we make this possible? And this is all about using a shortcut here, and very high level. So I will give you some examples, and I'll show a few things from my personal life and also from my professional life. And I'm sure you can come up with your own examples as well. So to put it right, immerse yourself in the new habit. Think of it as very easily said, flood your brain and flood your sight. So whatever you continue to be intentional about whatever you literally see in front of you will make it easier for you to immerse yourself and be successful in changing that habit. This is not a very, I would say, scientific approach, but it works. And this is what I tend to lean to when it comes to being or using a shortcut to unlearning. And a very simple example from my daily life, my routine, my morning routine actually. I knew that I would be better off by actually switching my morning coffee out with morning tea instead. But nothing back home was set up for that. So I had my coffee corner with all the coffee equipment and the good associations to the coffee. It was the first thing I saw when I entered into the kitchen. And I didn't have any tea devices or tea apparels or tea associations at all. So basically, in order to make it work, to really shift that habit, I needed to make the tea corner more attractive. I needed to focus on that. I needed to be prepared. I needed to have everything there that I could see and then remind myself, of course, that now is tea time, it's not coffee time. So it took some days to make it work, but now this is a new habit of mine. It's a very simple kind of example. And some people ask, so how long do you need in order to change a habit? And some people say, well, there are some old theories about it takes 21 days, it takes 90 days, you never know, it could take forever. And the only thing I know, having practiced myself in my personal life, but also in my professional life with other people, is that whatever you keep attentional about, and that you remind yourself both in your brain, but also in sight, will make it easier and make it quicker. So I would like to also share a different type of example from my professional life. And again, if anyone has any questions or comments or would like to share an example, feel free to do so in the chat box and I will comment along the way. So when I started off, and before I move on here, I can see that I got a reaction here from my tea corner. So Atara will try it out. Well, I'm sure we can use a tea corner. It could be something else, but it's kind of visual. It's kind of very clear that you need to, I would say, you need to reduce the association and also the insight for what you're going to leave, because there might be some other things associated with the coffee, right? It's not just the coffee itself. Maybe it's the company, maybe somebody who would love to make you a cup of coffee. So there are lots of things attached to that simple example as well. But a tea corner, if you can use that either directly or in a more subtle way, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing that. And when it comes to a professional example, of course, this can be really, really sophisticated and challenging. Some of you know that I come from Scandinavian countries, and up here we are immersed in a culture and a heritage about egalitarianism, and we are referring to what we call the law of Jante. Other places in the world, you might know it as the tall puppy syndrome. So it's rather about feeling a strong discomfort in actually promoting yourself. You should be you shouldn't stand out compared to others. You should try to blend in as much as possible. So an example from my business would be that when I started my own business 11 years ago, I was brought up in that culture. I was incented by that kind of message. I was great or good or successful when I didn't promote myself or stand out too much. So that, of course, was not a very good strategy when I started my own business, because I needed to niche myself. I needed to have other people understand why they should choose me and maybe not someone else. So imagine my struggle. After decades of learning and being immersed in that culture, I needed to gradually then take that on. And I couldn't immerse myself. I couldn't create a tea corner or for that sake, but I could immerse myself with content and people who thought differently. So what was really helpful back then, I immersed myself in literature and in people who were really good at giving other perspectives. And one of them was one of my business partners, actually, eventually, Per Frykman, who is writing about and working in the area of professional reputation management. And he helped me understand and learn a lot about how I see myself and how I can benefit from learning more about how others perceive me and see me. And that I can trust and that I can use in promoting myself and my business. So again, that took lots longer than just 3 days for my tea corner. I would say there's probably still some thing left to do there, but more or less after 3 to 6 months, I made some major improvements. I was able to niche myself more. I know I'm not the best coach. I know I'm not the best digital strategist. I'm not the best manager. But the way I combine these things, that is unique to me. And I found comfort in understanding that and also actually embracing how other people perceive me. So that helped me position myself. And I find myself not too much struck anymore by the tall puppy syndrome or the law of Jante. That was just a quick reminder there. And I would really encourage you, if you haven't read any of Per Frykman's books about professional reputation management, I really encourage you to do so because they give you lots of insights and new perspectives on a topic that I suspect is very valid also outside of the Scandinavian countries. All right, so that was about some personal examples. And if you joined me last week, you know that I also would like to challenge you. And it's up to you what you do with that, but I would like you to take something away from this short introduction today. So let me move on here, and I'm going to issue a new challenge this time. Given now, I know you have at least one habit that you know is not serving anymore. Given that you have identified that habit, you want to change it, and you also know what you need to do instead. What can you do to flood your brain and your sight? How can you immerse yourself? How can you immerse yourself in that space, in your specific situation? Because you need to flood your brain. You need to position yourself in a way where you can add content, you can reflect, you can have the right stakeholders supporting you around you, and test it out. And maybe also condition it when you do it so it becomes a new habit and that you do it with intention as often as possible, total immersing. And just filling in here, I can see that Per is actually joining us live today. I'm happy to have you here, Per. And I would love not only to recommend you, but also maybe to bring you on one day to share more about what people can unlearn about themselves by using your perspectives and the methods and resources that you have available. And I'll get back to you on that one, but thank you so much for being part of this today. I can also see here that Atara is filling in here. It's not only the way that you combine those, but your very unique personality and personal wisdom as well. Yes. So basically, and thank you, Atara, for sharing that, we add a lot of personality and a lot of experience and a lot of perspectives in the way we communicate and the way we connect and hopefully make other people resonate with us. Even though I'm not the best coach, even though I'm not the best digital strategist or even the best manager, the way I combine and do things and the way I present it and allow it to be of service to others could be the unique one, right? So we need to find those habits that are not serving us in order to actually be the best version of ourselves in that space. And this is a continuous thing, right? This unlearning way. It's about rediscovering actually things that are helpful, things that you need to reinforce. And I suspect we will never actually be fulfilled here. We will always have a strive to unlearn more because we want to learn more. And then we also need to be conscious about the unlearning part, of course. And very happy to see here that Per is confirming that I'm taking it as you will be able to join us once, Per, for discovering more about your specific perspective. I would love that. So perfect. I appreciate that. Now, this was your challenge for the next coming week, and I'll be back actually next week, 15 minutes again. And the topic next week will be about the following: unlearning the discomfort of asking for help. Every week, I meet people who have difficulties in asking for help. I still have that to some extent, but I've learned some techniques on how to deal with that and how to make them less, I would say, significant in my decision making. So I believe we can unlearn a lot more in this space, and I would love to invite you back here on the 30th of not January, but December, to do so. So that is the next topic, and I'm just checking my comments here again, whether there are any more. I would like to thank you for joining today, and I will hope to see you again next week. And if you tap into the recording, there will be more of these short Lunch and Unlearn sessions coming up on a weekly basis. So happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, and hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.